Hello my friends, welcome to another Greek lesson with Lina. Before we start, I would like to thank you all for being so supportive, for leaving all these nice comments, for subscribing to my channel, and of course I would like to give special thanks to my patrons on Patreon. So today we're going to talk about the cases. I think it's a very important lesson and maybe one of the most difficult ones because cases are something that is not very common in many languages. So in Greek it is very important and we're going to see them all today in general, but of course there are going to be other videos to give more detail for each case. So the cases in Greek are called ptώσεις. They are special forms that some words take in order to change their role or meaning in a sentence. And to be more specific, when I say forms, I mean different endings. Most of the time, the stem is the same and the endings change according to the case. The act of changing the endings of a word according to its case is called declension, in Greek κλίση. Not every part of speech is declinable. If you have watched my parts of speech video, you know that. The parts of speech that are declinable in Greek that have cases are the nouns, the adjectives, the articles, most pronouns, and the participles. In modern Greek, there are 4 cases: Ονομαστική, Nominative, Γενική, Genitive, Αιτιατική, Accusative, and Κλητική, Vocative. In this lesson, we're going to see when to use each case and not the grammar. The grammar is something more complicated and it has to be seen separately. As you may already know, in Greek the declinable words have not only cases but also different genders. A noun can be masculine, feminine or neuter, and adjectives, pronouns, articles and participles have all 3 genders in order to be able to accompany any noun. The articles and the pronouns have their special way of declension each. They are limited in number, so you can learn them and get it over with them, but nouns, adjectives and participles are unlimited. There are so many of them, so in order to be easier to decline them, they are grouped according to their endings in the nominative case. So each group has its own endings in each case. We are not going to talk about that today. Today we're going to learn the use of each case, so it's more about syntax. Let's begin with the nominative case. The nominative case is the case of the subject of the verb or the subject of the sentence. It is the case in which you find the words in a dictionary, and of course, by the ending of the nominative case, you decide how to decline a word. The main uses of the nominative case are: first, the subject of the sentence is always in the nominative, and second, and very important, when using linking verbs, the predicate is also in the nominative case. The most common and most important linking verb is the verb είμαι, to be. The grammar rules are the same for English and Greek about linking verbs. The only difference is that in Greek we see this difference by the case of the predicate, which is the nominative. So verbs like appear, seem, become are linking verbs. They don't express an action but give additional information about the subject. After these verbs, we use the nominative case. We will see some examples later and we are going to talk about it in different lessons, in much more detail. So, in order to help beginners here, I use the rule that is taught in primary school to children. The nominative case answers the question who? Who did this? Who did that? It's a simple way to explain the subject of the verb to children. Let's continue with the genitive case. The genitive case is used to specify, to limit if you like, The noun that is in the genitive case gives an extra quality to another noun. It can express possession, quality, quantity, time, place, value, origin, etc. Also, some verbs get an object in the genitive case. Not many verbs, but some very common verbs, so keep that in mind. And the primary school rule says the genitive case answers the question whose. But of course, this applies only when we talk about possession. As I said before, there are many other occasions where we use the genitive case. In English, the genitive case is expressed sometimes with a preposition of, sometimes with an apostrophe and the letter s when showing possession, and sometimes with a noun used before another noun, for example, flower child. In Greek, flower child is translated παιδί των λουλουδιών, of the flowers. It's in the genitive case. Of course, don't forget that there are many other cases when we use the genitive case. For example, the genitive case of the pronouns is very common and is used not only for possession, like my, your, his, etc. in English, but as I said before, the genitive case is also used for the object of some verbs. For example, talk to me in Greek is μίλα μου. Μίλα, the verb, μου, to me. Μιλώ is a verb that gets an object in the genitive case. Don't worry if all these sound a little strange or even frustrating to you. You're going to learn everything in time through practice and experience. Let's continue with something much easier, the accusative case. The accusative case is the case of the object of the verb. Most verbs, most transitive verbs of course, get an object in the accusative case. And let's not forget the primary school rule, it answers the question whom or what. This is a simple way to express the object of the verb, or the objects if there are more than one. And last but very important, when we have a prepositional modifier, that is an optional phrase that shows place, time, etc., and is introduced by a preposition, we always use the accusative case. And finally, the easiest case of all, the vocative case, κλητική. It is used to call someone. When I say «Γεια σας φίλοι μου», hello my friends, I use the vocative case. It is also used to start a letter or an email. Αγαπητή Μαρία, αγαπητέ Γιώργο. All these are in the vocative case. As I said before, today we're not going to talk about the grammar of the cases, but I want to give you an idea. So I have the definite article in the masculine gender, an adjective also in the masculine gender, and of course a masculine noun, in all cases in both numbers. I will read horizontally now because that's the correct order. Ο καλός φίλος, the good friend, του καλού φίλου, τον καλό φίλο, καλέ φίλε. Plural, οι καλοί φίλοι, των καλών φίλων, τους καλούς φίλους, καλοί φίλοι. So, when in a sentence we have a noun that has to be in a case for some reason, any article, adjective, participle, pronoun that accompanies this noun has to agree in gender, number and case with this noun. So, in this example, we have the definite article in the masculine gender. There is only one way to decline it. We have a regular adjective that ends in os, of course in the masculine gender, and a regular noun that ends in os. Let's see the noun first. As you can see, the stem of the noun philos, which means friend, is phil, the three first letters. The stem stays the same in all cases and both numbers, and the only thing that changes are the endings. The endings are the same for every masculine noun that ends in os. The same thing happens with the adjective kalos, which means good, nice. Of course, the adjective has two more genders, feminine and neuter, which we don't see here. The stem of the adjective is kal, the three first letters, and the endings are in red. As you may have noticed, the endings of the noun and the adjective are almost the same. The only difference here is the accent. The accent is very important when we decline nouns or adjectives, so we have to pay special attention to that when it's time to learn how to decline each group. So this was only a sample of the declension of a regular adjective and a regular noun. Now we're going to see some examples that focus on the use of each case, which is the subject of this lesson. Let's see the nominative case first. Ο Κώστας είναι καλός. Κώστας is nice. Of course, the subject of the verb is always in the nominative, so Κώστας is a proper noun in the nominative case. And let's not forget the definite article, which is also in the nominative case. Ο. But we have to pay attention to the verb. It is a linking verb, it is the verb είμαι, to be. Therefore, the predicate has to be in the nominative case too. The predicate here is an adjective, the adjective καλός that we just saw before, and it is in the nominative case. So we have three declinable words in this sentence, an article, a noun, and an adjective, and they are all in the nominative case. Let's see the same sentence with one more word, a noun this time. Ο Κώστας είναι καλός φίλος. Κώστας is a good friend. So now there is also a noun in the predicate, and it has to be in the nominative case too. Every declinable word in this sentence is also in the nominative case, the subject and the predicate. But now let's use another verb, a transitive verb that gets an object in the accusative case, the verb έχω, to have. Ο Κώστας έχει καλούς φίλους. So, ο Κώστας is the subject of the verb again. It is in the nominative case. Καλούς φίλους is the object of the verb, and it has to be in the accusative case. So, καλούς φίλους, the words in green, are in the accusative case and of course in the plural. Good friends. So, let's add the genitive case here. Ο φίλος του Κώστα είναι καλός. Ο φίλος is in the nominative case. Why? Because it is the subject of the verb, who is good. Ο φίλος, the friend. But whose friend? Του Κώστα. So, as you can see, the primary school rule here helps us. And of course, let's not forget the predicate. We have a linking verb, the verb είμαι, so the predicate καλός has to be in the nominative case. And finally, let's see the vocative case when we call someone. Φίλε. Hey, friend. So this is very simple. When we call someone, whether by name or by some other noun, we use the vocative case. The only thing you have to remember here is that when we call someone, we don't use an article. That's why articles don't have a vocative case in Greek. I'm sure you need some more examples after all that, so that's why I'm here. We're going to see some more examples. I will try to use the same words as much as possible so that you won't get confused with the different endings because you are not familiar with the endings yet. Let's focus on the nominative first. In all of these examples, I use the verb είμαι. So, all the words in red are in the nominative case. They are subjects and predicates. Ο Κώστας είναι γιατρός. Ο Κώστας is the subject Γιατρός is the predicate. Let's use another name, a girl's name this time, Maria. Η Μαρία είναι γιατρός. Again, η Μαρία is in the nominative case. Η Μαρία είναι φίλη μου. Η Μαρία, the subject of the verb, in the nominative. Φίλη is a noun, it means friend but a female friend, and it is also in the nominative case. If you noticed, we also have another word here, μου, φίλη μου. Μου here is a possessive pronoun and it is in the genitive case. Φίλη μου means my friend, but let's not focus on that right now. Η Μαρία είναι φίλη του Κώστα. Η Μαρία, the subject in the nominative. Φίλη, the predicate in the nominative. Του Κώστα is in the genitive and of course it expresses possession. Whose friend? Του Κώστα. Η Μαρία και ο Κώστας είναι φίλοι. Maria and Kostas are friends. We have two subjects here connected by a conjunction, και. They are both in the nominative case, and as always the predicate φίλοι is also in the nominative case. Pay attention to the ending of the word φίλοι. It is written with omicron iota, which means it is in the plural, and it is the masculine noun for friends. When we have at least one male in a group of people, we use the masculine noun or adjective. Let's make it a bit more complex here. Η Μαρία και ο Κώστας είναι φίλοι μου. The only difference from the previous sentence is the possessive pronoun μου, which, as I said before, means my. And finally, η Μαρία και ο Κώστας είναι καλοί γιατροί. Maria and Kostas are good doctors. Two subjects connected by και, and the predicate is a noun and an adjective. All in the nominative case, of course. Let's move on to the genitive case. All the words in red are in the nominative and all the words in blue are in the genitive case. Ο Κώστας είναι ο γιατρός της Μαρίας. Kostas is Maria's doctor. Ο Κώστας is the subject. Γιατρός is the predicate. Της Μαρίας is in the genitive case because it shows possession. Whose doctor? Don't forget that the possessor is in the genitive case. Not the possession, but the possessor. Η Μαρία είναι φίλη του γιατρού. Maria is the doctor's friend. Maria, the subject. Φίλη, the predicate. Του γιατρού, the possessor in the genitive case. Let's make it a bit more complex here. Two genitives in one sentence and also two possessive structures in one sentence. Ο γιατρός της Μαρίας είναι φίλος μου. Maria's doctor is my friend. The doctor, the subject. Whose doctor? Της Μαρίας is my friend. Φίλος μου. The possessive pronoun. My friend. And now let's see some verbs that get an object in the genitive case. Το είπες του γιατρού. Did you tell the doctor? Το is the weak form of the third person of the personal pronoun. It is not the definite article and it means it. That's the only thing you have to know for now. Είπες, you told. It is a past tense of the verb λέω. Also ignore that for now. What we care about here is the genitive case, του γιατρού. The verb λέω, which means I say or I tell, gets an object in the genitive case. It is one of the few verbs that get an object in the genitive case, but as you can guess, it is very commonly used. I don't want to confuse you anymore, but there is an alternative to the genitive case here. We can use the preposition σε and the accusative case. but forget that for now. Μίλα της. The verb μιλώ, that means talk or speak. Again, it gets an object in the genitive case. Talk to her. Μίλα is the second person of the imperative mood. It's an order. Μίλα, talk, της, to her. The weak form of the third person of the personal pronoun in the feminine gender and in the genitive case. But don't worry about that right now. We're going to talk about the pronouns in a different lesson. For now, just remember that verbs like μιλώ, λέω get an object in the genitive case, whether it is a pronoun or a noun. Ημέρες της εβδομάδας. The days of the week. This is not a whole sentence, just a phrase, the days of the week. In this phrase, we give an attribute to the noun days by using another noun in the genitive case, της εβδομάδας, of the week. The genitive case is a way to specify or limit. We're not talking about any days, but specifically about the days of the week. And as I said before, very often when in English we use the preposition of, in Greek we use the genitive case. Το βιβλίο είναι της Μαρίας. The book is Mary's. The book belongs to Mary. So, the book, nominative, it is the subject of the verb. We have a linking verb, the verb είμαι, third person είναι. And the predicate is in the genitive case. So, don't get confused. Don't see it as an exception to the rule. Because how else could you explain that the book is Maria's? How else could you express possession? There is no other way, so you have to use the genitive case in order to say what you want. And I'm not going to lie, the predicate might be in the genitive or sometimes even in the accusative case, but this is very rare and the meaning of what you want to say will lead you there naturally. Most of the time, after a linking verb, you will use the nominative case. Let's continue with the accusative case. Ο Κώστας έχει έναν σκύλο. Ο Κώστας, in red, is the subject of the verb. The verb is έχει, has. Έναν σκύλο, a dog. Έναν σκύλο is in the accusative case, a normal object. Έναν is the indefinite article. Η Μαρία θέλει παγωτό. Η Μαρία, the subject, θέλει, wants, παγωτό, ice cream. Again, in the accusative case. The good news is that neuter nouns have the same form for the nominative and the accusative, so you don't have to think a lot before using a neuter noun. Έχω δουλειά. Έχω, I have. The subject here is implied, I, and the object is the feminine noun δουλειά, which also belongs to a group of feminine nouns that have the same form for the nominative and the accusative, so an easy one. Του το είπα. I told him. So here we have the verb λέω, again in the past tense, with two objects, a direct object and an indirect object. The direct object here is in the accusative case, and it is the personal pronoun to, which means it. In this sentence, in English, it is not necessary to use it, but in Greek we usually say it. And the indirect object is in the genitive case, again the personal pronoun to. That means him or to him. Πάμε στο θέατρο. We are going to the theater, or we go to the theater. So we have the verb πάμε. The subject is implied, we. Στο θέατρο is not an object, it is a prepositional modifier that shows place. If you have watched my definite article video, you know that στο is the preposition se with the definite article merged together in one word. So, another very common use of the accusative case is after prepositions. When we have a preposition in a sentence, we always use the accusative case with this preposition. So, if you watch my Where is it video, you will notice that every noun after a preposition is in the accusative case. Of course, in that video I use many neuter nouns and the difference is not very obvious from the endings, but it is the accusative case. Είδα τον φίλο μου. I saw my friend. Again, we have a verb in the past tense. Είδα, I saw. Whom did I see? Τον φίλο, the friend. But whose friend? My friend. So, τον φίλο is in the accusative case, it is the object of the verb. And to specify even more, we use the possessive pronoun μου. My friend. I will say it again, don't get confused by the pronouns. We will talk about them in different lessons and everything is going to be more clear. Δώσε μου το βιβλίο. Give me the book. Again, a very common verb, give, δώσε, in the imperative mood, with two objects. The book is the direct object. It is in the accusative case. Μου is the indirect object and it is in the genitive case. Μου, to me. And finally, some examples about the vocative case, which is very easy. Κώστα, φέρε το βιβλίο. Κώστα, in purple, is a proper noun and name. It is in the vocative case because we call Κώστας. Maria, έλα εδώ. Again, Maria is in the vocative case. When I say γεια σας φίλοι μου, I use the vocative case. The word φίλοι is in the vocative. But as you may have noticed, it is the same as the nominative. And finally, when we write a letter or an email, we say αγαπητή Ελένη, dear Eleni. Both the adjective dear and the name Eleni are in the vocative case. So, that was it, my friends. This is going to be a very long video, I believe, but I think it's worth it because the cases are a very important part of the Greek language. We use cases in almost every sentence, so it is very, very important. This was an introduction to the syntax and the use of the cases, but I'm going to make more videos about each case separately. But of course, there's always the grammar. If you want to use the cases properly, you have to learn how to decline the groups. If you want to take a quick look at the groups, then you can watch my old video about the endings of the nouns. In this video, I only list the groups by the endings of the nominative case. I don't talk about the declension because we have to see each group separately, but it's a good start. And let's not forget that it's not only the nouns, but also the adjectives, the pronouns, and the participles. If you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more. You can also find me on social media and on my blog Learn Greek with Lina. See you next time, bye bye!